What up, what up, what up? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Charles. Listen, I'm just sitting here thinking about Will Smith, right? I'm not thinking about him like that, but I was just thinking about Will Smith as far as like people were teasing him about his whole situation with Jada and all that stuff. And her, sleeping with her son's friend. I think August Alsina was Jaden's friend before he started banging his mama. But just embarrassing him, putting him out there like that. Like, even if that did happen, like, I would never tell nobody. I would never put that out in public and embarrass first of all, you're embarrassing your kids. That's what I'm saying. That's when the upbringing is different. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, of course, Will Smith grew up. His father and his father was in his life. Even though he said that his father was kind of abusive towards his mom, his dad, I guess all in all was a good man. And I think Will Smith's mom and dad were married for a long time. I think, I don't know whether his dad has passed on or not, or his mom. I think his mom is still living, but looked like his mom and dad were together for a long time, even up until Will Smith became famous. And his dad, was a hardworking guy and all that stuff, and his mom was a hardworking woman. But it seemed like Will came from a good background, even though their family had their turmoil. Will Smith came from a pretty good background. Now Jada Pinkett Smith, I guess you could take the Smith off now, being that she's, I guess, secretly I think they're not together anymore. But Jada, I think she grew up, I think her, from not so good circumstances in Baltimore. She's from Baltimore. Baltimore, I've heard stories about Baltimore. Baltimore is hardcore. That's why they made The Wire based on Baltimore. Baltimore, man. And Jada grew up in that stuff. She grew up in the projects, the drugs. I think her mama was on drugs, right? Wasn't her mom on drugs? I think her mom might have, then she used to sell drugs. She used to hang out with the drug dealers. So Jada comes from a more hardcore, harder background. You know what I'm saying? So somebody like a Will Smith would seem corny to her. But being that Will is in the position that he was in Hollywood, he was the up and coming rising star in the 90s. I don't know. I think she might have got with Will on some insurance policy shit. If my career don't pan out, then I got Will, who's going to be the Hollywood's new golden boy at the time, after he left Fresh Prince in the 90s. I'll at least have him to fall back on, which I can kind of see that was a good move on her part, because it wasn't like Jada was, killing the roles. I mean, she had a couple of roles in the 90s. She was in Set It Off, which is a classic film. She was in Demon Knight. She was on, Different World, which is a groundbreaking show. Menace to Society, which those are beloved hood classics and black classics amongst the African American community. But she really didn't have any mainstream stuff that I can think of. She was in Low Down Dirty Shame. Of course, that was a black movie. I mean, that was a Keenan Ivory Wayans film. But you think about it, she didn't really have anything that was crossover. Everybody, Jada Pinkett's a household name like Will type thing, Will had Fresh Prince, and Fresh Prince, shockingly, was a crossover hit for NBC, But I don't know, man. And Jada stuff kind of slacked off when she became Mrs. Smith. Her roles kind of dwindled, but that was good on her part. She married Will because she had an insurance policy. She could fall back on Will. You know what I'm saying? But I think eventually, she started to gain, I don't know, I'm just assuming, she's like, she might have had some resentment towards Will. Like, what the fuck, your career is, this man doing big blockbuster films, what you want to be doing, big multi-million-dollar budget films, working with big-time directors, and people that Will, they're pretty sure Jada would dreamt about being in. Will is doing it. I think eventually you start having resentment towards Will, then you start to look at him like, being in her background, like, this corny ass dude, like, Pac, what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she should probably compare Pac, even though she say her and Pac it was never like that. I'm pretty sure she probably still like compared, like, you know, like Pac can act way better than Will. How the hell these people think the Will so? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she probably had that. Oh, this is the wrong parking lot. I'm pretty sure she probably had that in the back of her head, like, this dude's so corny. How the hell he getting all these roles and I'm not getting all these? You know what I'm saying? I'm trained. You know, I'm a well-trained, better actor than him. How he, you know, I don't know. How is he a leading man? You know, you gotta think she's a hood chick, and you know, hood chicks, they don't, you know, a chick don't come from a hood see Will as a catch. You know, a chick that was brought up and raised in a better like an environment like Will, they would see Will like a catch. But a chick like Jada would see, you know, Will as a cornball. Like, oh, he cute and fine, but he kind of corny. You know, he ain't got no tattoos. He ain't never been in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? She would probably see him as like it's a cornball ass. Of course, they know where to park. You know, Jesus.